This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Hey everyone, I'm your host Dani, and I'm the first-time reader going through this series chapter by chapter. As always, there's no spoilers past the chapter we're covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host Brett, who's a longtime fan, and he's guiding me on this journey. We'd like to thank and acknowledge our executive producers, Brandy and Kirkwood, Sean McGuire, Yanis, LightBlindedFool, Green Man, Deyvis Ferreira, Margaret, Big C, Bennett Williamson, Dylan C, Hannah Green, Noralia, Jordan Gower, and Geof Searles. And before we get into things today, we just want to thank and welcome Brandon Runger, Desora, and Gary D to the Wheel Weaves Patreon team. Thank you so much for your generosity and your support. We really truly could not do this without you. In this episode, we are talking about the first half of the prologue of The Gathering Storm.
Yeah, we're here. We did it. The Gathering Storm, finally.
Right. Okay. And are we actually ready to start this episode?
I think so, because I gotta say...
Because we tried 45 minutes ago.
The storm has gathered around this first recording episode.
Spilled my whole drink.
The whole very full pink drink. Everywhere. Oh
my.
Man. Okay, and then my computer was like, I don't recognize your face.
Yeah.
You look different than you did 5 minutes ago. I don't know.
Whole thing.
Yeah, okay.
But here we are.
Yeah.
Starting The Gathering Storm.
The prologue is what the storm means.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's probably bad.
It probably means
Probably bad.
something bad.
Yeah.
Ask those farmers.
Yes.
They know.
Okay, we gotta discuss a few things before we actually get into this, because we are doing the first 3 perspectives this episode.
Yeah.
And then the next 3 perspectives next episode in part 2.
Yeah.
But before we even get into the book, we gotta talk about a couple of things.
Yes.
So first off, I want to talk about is the foreword that was written by Brandon Sanderson.
Yes. I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it was very nice.
Yeah.
Because he's like, they're not my books. I'm just like the conduit.
Yeah, obviously there was like a bit of a time gap between when Robert Jordan passed away.
He's the jalopy.
Yeah, okay. Is he? That wasn't
Wasn't
what the
that
metaphor was, right?
Oh, was it? When Rand was the conduit?
Oh,
Remember when he was siphoning the gas?
Right. What was the jalopy?
I thought Rand was the jalopy.
It could have been. Maybe Brandon Sanderson is the jalopy for our transition.
I feel like I need to go back and read the end of Winter's Heart now.
Exactly.
To see what metaphor we made, because now I'm confused.
He's going to be a fan. He's never going to come on our podcast now to talk about the books. If we're here calling him a jalopy.
That's true. And if anybody's here listening to us for the first time, they're also not coming back. No. I'm just kidding. They have no idea what we're talking about.
Right. Okay. So the foreword is actually very heartfelt. I did love it too, because there was the time gap between Robert Jordan passing away, Brandon Sanderson being picked up an author as the author for these books, and then releasing this in 2009.
Right. And now for our book recap episode for Knife of Dreams, we had an interview with Maria Simmons, the Wheel of Time series continuity editor.
Yeah.
And we asked her the question, what went into the decision of asking Brandon Sanderson to finish the series? And so if you haven't listened to that episode of ours, go and listen to that, because that interview was really, really good and really exciting for us.
Yeah, very informative too. Mm-hmm. Now, Maria is actually credited in the dedication of this book too, as helping it all come together. So very cool that we got to have a conversation with her about that. Now, also in this forward by Brandon Sanderson, because he also tells a little bit of the story. I feel like Maria told a lot more because we had a long time to talk with her, which was pretty cool. But then he goes on to talk about how the last book in Robert Jordan's plan, he wanted the last book to be one book.
Yes,
like everything was remaining one book. And I think at one point he said, I don't care if they have to invent a new binding system. I want it to be one book called A Memory of Light.
Yes.
Now, obviously, that didn't pan out so well, like all the other plans to keep the Wheel of Time series short. But
well, the last 3 books ended up being like 1,000,000 words.
It did.
Yeah.
So you can't, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
So Brandon Sanderson did a very good job of, in the forward, mentioning like, hey, you can consider the last 3 books essentially one book, but 3 volumes. Yeah, and that does make a lot of sense, and that's going to help us as we go through this too, because one of his goals was to write a complete story for us as readers within each book too.
Yeah.
So, but think timeline-wise, sometimes we're going to have to think of them as like one gigantic book instead of 3 separate books.
Which is fine, because I actually think of this entire series
one gigantic
as
book.
one gigantic book, because how many books don't wrap up a plot line
Yep.
that we want wrapped up?
And ebooks, you can buy the complete Wheel of Time series And it's
one?
It's one gigantic book.
Really?
I really want it. It's like $160. It's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's like one thing. I want it. Anyways.
Okay.
Maybe when we finish the series, I'll deserve it.
Maybe.
And I can justify having it.
Maybe.
Sure. We'll see. We'll see how we do in these last 3. Now, last thing I really do want to mention that Brandon Sanderson talks about is the writing style and character development. So he does mention, I really appreciated this when I picked up this book for the first time. He's not trying to imitate Robert Jordan. He doesn't try to. He just adjusts his own style to fit in with Wheel of Time. And he does mention that a lot of the themes, the big plot concepts are Robert Jordan's, but they're his words. And when we are talking about this book, how we're going to read through it, I don't really want to point out who was written by what and if this scene was originally Robert Jordan's.
I asked you about some of that, and you said that kind of information is very hard to find because it's such a gray area between, okay, Robert Jordan wrote this prologue, but not, this, and this section and not this section. Yeah. And so that part is hard to find.
There are some scenes, and Brandon Sanderson mentions it in the forward, that the end of the book was written by Robert Jordan.
Right.
So that's going to be pretty cool when we get to the very end.
Right.
Of like the series.
Got it.
But what I also think we're going to try to avoid, because again, I know we've got a lot of new time listeners, but we also got a lot of veterans of the series too. We're not really going to focus on how RJ may have written things differently. Mm-hmm. We're not going to worry about that too much because this is your first read through. Yeah. You know what? On a reread through, let's do it.
Maybe.
But
sure.
for this one, we're just going to keep it. We're going to keep a Wheel of Time.
We're going to keep a Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
That's the new catchphrase. Just keep it Wheel of Time around here.
I'm probably going to break that rule like immediately too. So
I know.
Just like for the record, don't criticize me when I do break that. But I'm not going to try to make that the focal point of our discussions.
Okay, that's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do want to mention, lastly, that I am super appreciative of Brandon Sanderson for doing this because he was walking into probably one of the hardest jobs you could ever have as a writer.
Well, even you saying that Robert Jordan had wrote the end of the book. Yeah. And so he essentially had to go from point A to point B as creatively as possible.
He parkoured it. He parkoured it.
He parkoured it, right? Because it's not just like, oh, he could start writing from where he left off and wherever he ended up with the characters he ended up. On a loosey-goosey, this is where I kind of want them to go. No. It's like, no, this is exactly where they're going to end up and you better fit the puzzle pieces in exactly right to get there.
And I mean, there's so many plot points along the way. So I'm very appreciative. I think he did a phenomenal job. Obviously it's not Robert Jordan, but I just can't thank him enough for actually finishing this.
Well, yeah, we have a finished series.
Hey, the alternative is not this
finished series.
So no thanks.
Yeah.
But
we have talked about it in the past that Robert Jordan clearly cared about his fans and his fan base for making sure that it was going to get finished.
Yeah, I mean, he was for a long time saying, if I die, it's not going to be finished. Just kind of like the same way, the Warriors of Altai, he was like, that's never going to get released. Yeah. Well, it got released.
Well, people want to read what you have to write, bud. Okay. Sorry.
But I think with that being said, are we good?
I'm ready.
Can we do this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that the fun fact?
No, it wasn't. I was going to say, but wait, there's more.
Oh, gosh. I was like, okay, that counts. Let's go.
Yeah, no, that's not even the fun fact.
You have a fun fact for us also.
Because it's the beginning of the book, and, as is tradition...
Stats.
I got to let you know what we're in for the Gathering Storm.
Okay, let us know.
So, we have the prologue. We've got 50 chapters.
Holy shit. I didn't even look at that.
Yeah.
It's a long book.
It's a big one, but it's not the longest book. It comes in at 296,221 words. It's not
What's the longest book?
Almost 400,000.
Which one is that?
Lord of Chaos.
Oh, actually still. Okay.
Yeah. I think I said that.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the longest one.
Yeah, no, I know. But then there's always a caveat. Because it was always like, the longest. And then there's also the last 3, which we're not talking about really right now. But, okay.
Yeah. Lord of Chaos was the longest. It is the longest. And always will be the longest.
Got it. Okay.
Gathering Storm's pretty average, actually, for number of words. But it's a lot of chapters, a lot of content.
Okay.
So that's why when we talked about breaking this down, we're also, for the most part, going to be doing this book one chapter at a time.
Okay. Woohoo. Can't wait.
Hooray.
Well, we'll finish in a year from now at that rate.
No, 9 months.
Oh, gosh.
8 months.
You grow a whole human in that time.
Sure.
I'm not going to.
No.
That's not an announcement.
No.
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 Oh, no.
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 Okay.
But somebody could.
Somebody could.
Hypothetically.
And statistically, somebody is.
Whoa.
I'm just like,
Aw, that's nice for them and not us.
Or maybe not. The Gathering Storm.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we can start.
Okay, we are going to talk about the first 3 perspectives, but before we do that, there is an intro passage.
Right, not yet. So we're not talking about the chapter yet.
Not quite.
Okay. Now, did you take...
As always, it didn't really mean very much.
Well, did you take note of the time frame, though, of like the date stamp of it?
Nope.
Okay.
Because I don't know dates in this book series.
Dani. Okay, so at the beginning of every glossary, there's an explanation of the calendar system.
I'm not allowed to read the glossary.
Yeah, but you did that one time and ruined it, and I assumed...
I didn't read about the dates and the different time. No, that's boring in the glossary. I want to read the interesting, juicy stuff in the glossary.
Okay, so I'm going to read the intro passage. I'm going to tell you why the date is important.
Okay.
So it says, ravens and crows, rats, mists and clouds, insects and corruption, strange events and odd occurrences, the ordinary, twisted and strange, wonders... The dead are beginning to walk, and some see them. Others do not, but more and more we all fear the night. These have been our days. They rain upon us beneath a dead sky, crushing us with their fury, until as one we beg, let it begin.
Oh my gosh.
Now, that's from the...
Okay, that's pretty ominous.
Well, the Journal of the Unknown Scholar, entry for the Feast of Freya, 1000 New Era.
Okay, and what year are we in right now?
1000.
Oh, it was written right now.
Yes.
Okay.
So the series starts in 998.
Okay.
And it's about 2 years later. We actually get that date stamp in the first perspective that he mentions it's springtime.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And we started at winter night a little over 2 years before.
Yeah.
So we're just over that 2-year mark.
Right, because when we started Eye of the World, it should have been springtime, but it was too cold.
Right.
And then finally, when we went to the Eye of the World and came out, then it was like, flowers blooming. We fixed it.
We fixed the weather.
Yeah.
We pushed
and
back
then
the dark
we
one.
went to summer at one point, and then it stayed too hot for too long.
Yep.
And then we cloud bowled the situation.
We did. Cloud bowled it real good.
And then it was winter.
Okay.
But I like how there's the mention of the insects. A nice nod to those weevils.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
And with the dead walking, I'm like, ooh, those ghosts better matter.
Ghosts.
This book.
Yep.
They better matter. They better do something, you know?
For sure. And then the ominous let it begin.
Let it begin.
Gathering Storm.
I guess so.
Last battle.
Sure.
Let's start. Let's
Why
do this
not?
thing.
Okay. All right. So the prologue is called What the Storm Means, and the chapter symbol is the wheel and snake.
Yes.
And we are going to enter in a perspective of somebody that we have never met before.
This is true.
Okay, good. I was like, I hope that's right. Okay, so Reynold is an old farmer dude from the Borderlands.
Yep.
And now we certainly get a very long-winded description of this guy, what he's seeing, what he's thinking, what he's feeling, about his pipe, like all of it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so I was like, oh, this feels the same.
Yeah.
Like immediately
I'm going to immediately break my whole like Brandon Sanderson not talking about a thing, but it's like, it's one of those scenes where...
Did Robert write this?
Yeah, maybe. I don't want to talk about it. It's like, it feels the exact same. I don't know.
Yeah. It did feel slightly different.
It does.
It went on for a long time about description, but like with shorter sentences.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Okay, we're not talking about that.
And at one point, I think this dude thought of himself like in the third person. Like it was like kind of like a whole situation. I was like, okay. Anyway,
it's different, but it's the same. But it's fine. Okay.
Going on and on and on. This guy's just on his porch. He's got a farm, and there's some weird black and silver clouds in the sky that are jumping all around.
Not gray, black and silver.
Black and silver.
What the heck is up with those clouds?
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
Weird, unnatural clouds.
Evil.
Yeah,
okay.
With like cracks of lightning and thunder that sound way closer than they actually should be. And
yeah, it's half of the crazy stuff that happens in the perspective.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
That's half of this stuff.
What else do we need to talk about with him sitting on the porch and looking at these clouds?
No, like in the entire perspective, the clouds are half of it, and then the other half is the other half.
Okay, yeah. Fair.
Okay.
We also learn about his farm a little bit. We also learn that he has some men working for him and that he's an old, hardy farmer.
Yeah, but again, okay, so the important part about this perspective is that we always get to see a lot of our, heroes and the important people, but we don't always get to see the absolute commoners.
I disagree. I think we see so much of other random people doing random things.
A lot more from the heroes.
Much of it.
This is just a regular old dude.
Of course, more from the heroes. What kind of book would it be if we got more random commoners than heroes?
Yeah, some sort of crazy book. I don't know.
It'd be crazy.
Crazy book we wouldn't read.
I don't know. I actually thought that this was pretty typical.
Okay. That's fair. But also, his plants are doing bad. Nothing's growing. Little sprouts aren't even popping out of the ground. They should be.
Not
what
yet,
the heck
though.
is going on here?
Bad.
He doesn't know. He's the middle of nowhere. He didn't hear about no Cloud Bowl last time.
No.
He doesn't know what's going on.
No.
But I feel like you're kind of skipping out on the whole ominous clouds.
No, they're really ominous, man.
Well, because they jump forward and back.
I said that.
And then at one point he opens his eyes and they're like right there. And then a funnel cloud starts coming down to swallow him whole. And he's like, oh no, this is it. I'm going to die. The darkness will swallow me completely.
But then they jump away again.
They jump away, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to do more with the evilness of the clouds.
Okay.
Okay.
Evil clouds.
Guys, the storm is gathering.
Okay.
The metaphorical storm.
Except, let's be real though, because from book 1 or 2, Nynaeve has been telling us there's a storm coming.
A metaphorical storm.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yeah. No, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know. Do you know? Do they know?
No.
Reynold is just finding out now. Okay.
Well, after all this sky contemplation,
right,
Reynold is going to hear the sound of a large wagon rolling up the hill, and it's a little bit of a confusing scene.
Really?
It's strange for him.
Oh, yeah, for him. Okay.
Oh, I'm not confused.
Sometimes
I know,
you get confused.
This is a relatively straightforward one. When we get to a couple other perspectives in this prologue, I'm going to be like, what is happening? But this one, no, it's pretty straightforward.
Right, okay.
So Reynold is confused because the blacksmith is traveling with his wife and all his livestock.
And daughter.
And his gear.
Yeah.
And his daughter. And everything.
There's like a trail of cows and goats. The chickens are all loaded up too. It's like, what the heck is going on? And I love that he thinks like, oh, maybe he's visiting family.
Gone to visit some family.
But it's like he
with
also...
all his livestock.
Well, because also, you have to understand, it's a long time ago, and you don't just you can't just go on a vacation and come back.
It's not a long time ago.
It is.
It's the future.
It's the future. A long time from now.
And also the past.
And the past. Now you get
because it's a wheel.
Yep. Okay.
Cool. I get it.
If you go far enough into the future, you're looping back around.
But yeah, I mean, I'm here with you.
Anyways, so that's as confusing as how Reynold is feeling, because what's going on? You can't just pack up. Who's going to be the blacksmith? Because you're the guy.
Because you're the guy here, right?
Yeah.
And he rolls up, and we get a little bit of description about this guy, about how he's not very good with words.
Yeah.
And he's not very good at communicating.
No.
And he shows up and he's like, hey man, I buried my anvil and tools in my strawberry patch in case you need to dig them up.
Yeah, if I don't come back, dig them up and sell them to someone who likes doing the blacksmithing
and
thing.
Reynold's like, hold on, what?
Yeah.
Why? Where? Who? How? What are you talking about?
Well, and then in my mind, I'm pretty sure half the time you're like, okay, why did he bury a bunch of his stuff in a strawberry patch? It's because if you leave, people might rob you.
Steal your shit.
So you bury it in the field so they can't get your best stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I left my fake anvil out for the dumb robbers.
Oh, yeah, they can have that.
My best one's in the strawberry patch.
Yeah, okay.
If you were confused, as I have been.
I actually, honestly, didn't even think about it.
You got it. You're like, yeah, for sure, bury your shit.
I don't even care. I was like,
do you know how much stuff is in our backyard buried? Don't even know.
I don't know. I haven't even looked.
Good. Yeah.
Okay, so this guy, Thulin.
That's the blacksmith, yep.
Yeah. Says, storm's coming, gotta go.
Gotta go north.
Gotta go north, gotta do it.
Yep.
Reynold's still confused, and he's like, no man, it's just a storm. We've had them before. It'll be fine. You don't just leave.
Right.
And then we have a whole conversation about pots.
Which is important.
For his wife.
The one wife to the other is giving the other wife the good copper bottom pots. Yeah, we're going to come back to that. We're going to circle back.
Yeah. And also a bunch of eggs.
Yeah, chicken. Yeah, it's regular.
Yeah. And then Reynold really needs to know, but where are you going? And then finally we get some information from Thulin.
Whole explanation. Not Sulin, it's Thulin.
Yeah.
You also got to stick to the Wheel
foolin'.
of Time type of names.
No fooling with Thulin.
That's a Winnipeg joke
I
if
love
I ever
it.
heard one. Okay. Yeah, okay. If you know a lot about insect control and the city of Winnipeg from the early 2000s. There's a company named
Poolin.
Yeah.
No fooling with Poolins.
No fooling with Poolin.
Yeah, I would get it.
The theme song.
It's the... Okay. I mostly remember that from going to Goldeye's baseball games.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Which is a minor league baseball team?
Yeah. Those were fun.
Okay. Anyways, so the full-on explanation is basically, hey, an army is probably going to be gathering in the north, and they're going to need blacksmiths, so he's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, Reynold should probably think about coming too, because, I mean, it's time to go.
Let's go.
And if you do come, bring everything.
Bring everything.
Like everything.
And then turn your farm equipment into weapons before you come.
I love it. It's such a nonchalant conversation. Like, hey, take your best scythe and turn it into a polearm because it's good for pulling people off horses and stabbing them. Yeah. And it's like these two guys who are not soldiers, have never been soldiers, but they're in the borderlands, so they understand killing. But it's like, guys, what are we even talking about here?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy stuff.
Swords, bring your farm animals.
Yeah, and swords aren't even that difficult to make. You just, bang them into a couple. You got a cross guard there. Don't get your hand cut. It's good. Yep. There you go.
Okay. Now, Reynold is not really on board. He doesn't even really know what's going on.
Barely.
And then Thulin's like, make your own decision. I gotta go.
Yeah, storm's coming. Gotta go.
And then Reynold's wife comes out just as they're leaving and is like, they didn't even stay to chat? How rude.
Yeah. How crazy is her name also?
I have no...
There's so many... There are 6 vowels.
In a row.
And 1 consonant.
Well, there's...
5 vowels and the letter N and then an E. Awain. Okay, probably, right?
Oh, easy. Okay. Yeah. Awain.
Crazy name.
I think it's beautiful.
Sure.
I wish I knew it before we had You know what? If somebody is about to have a baby in 9 months, consider Awain. There you go. Auaine.
Right.
Can't go wrong with 4 vowels in a row.
4.
Yeah.
There's 4.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Anyways, so this is the part that I got to circle back to because the wife comes out and she's like, "What? Why do they come?" And then just like leave. That's crazy.
Well, you can have her pots.
No, yeah. Reynolds first he's like, "Oh, she brought eggs," and then she's like, she's excited about. She's like, "Oh, eggs, great! That that we're all cool." And then she's like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "She left her best pots for you." And that's when she's like, "Wait, what?
And
what else did they say?"
A few eggs.
Because it's like that's you know that it's threat level midnight.
Mm-hmm.
When your neighbor is giving you the best pots that they own.
Yes.
Like, why? What happened?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's when Reynold says, they want us to go north too.
Storm's coming.
And Awain says, yep, we gotta go.
Yeah, you gotta listen.
She's a sensible woman. She gets it.
Not even going for the pots.
No.
Those best pots, no time.
It doesn't even matter. What do we need those for? We're on the road now.
Don't need them.
Yeah. Those are for the robbers.
Yeah, it's a distraction.
Because they're out on the table.
Right.
Yeah, those aren't buried.
Yeah.
But she says, I'm going to go take care of the house. You tell the men. Bye.
Yeah. We got to go. I appreciate the perspective because she is like, okay, this is important. Reynold needed that push.
Yeah.
I feel like if she wasn't there to be like, we should go.
So the entire time he was looking at these clouds by himself, he was like, you old idiot.
Yeah.
Your mind is playing tricks on you.
Oh, yeah. And his whole, it reminds me of the one-armed plaster guy plastering the ceiling.
Why?
Well, because his saying.
He's got sayings.
He's like, you're crazy because, like, eggs is eggs.
Eggs is eggs, man. Clouds is clouds. I think that's the...
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Except these clouds aren't eggs.
No. He's
right. They're crazy. Those are crazy clouds.
Yes. Anyways, here we go. We gotta go.
All right. So he's going to go gather up his workers and he starts giving directions. And one of the guys is like, no. We're not just going to leave. And he's like, yes.
He's the hothead guy.
You're going to listen.
Right. You know what also?
And then he does. And then he listens.
On the level of hotheads that we've run into.
This is the most level-headed person.
Oh, yeah. He like slightly disagrees momentarily.
Because it's a crazy request.
He's like, hey, we got to tend the fields here because like stuff is going to die. We've never left what are we doing?
Well, and this guy's been working here for like 15 years since he was a teenager.
And then he's like, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, I guess we go now.
Right.
Right.
And then he does.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, cool.
And Reynold starts making his own tools. But first, we have to hear about how he's decent at smithing because his father taught him how to do a decent job at like little things.
He's got a little mobile shop.
He really does.
On rollers. He rolls out his little mini forge.
You roll it out because you don't want to do it in the barn. So much description.
Got to be careful about fire. We got that explanation with the lightning.
Mm-hmm.
It's like lightning causes fire. You don't want to have fires.
No one wants fires.
Don't do forging in the barn.
Don't do it because fires.
Yeah.
And also do your own forging because you don't want to have to go all the way into town to fix a hinge.
Exactly.
So you got to know some things. So he knows some things.
Okay, cool.
So many things to know.
And in a quick hour, he's got the forge heated up.
The forge?
The forge.
The forge heated up.
The forgy. It's all heated up. He's good to start forging the weapons. And then we get the explanation of him trying to figure out the makeshift weapons out of the scythe.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
You know, it's a little bit lighthearted, but also...
Not really. This is this entire...
The way we're making it lighthearted.
I know.
But I gotta say it, Taviran's gonna Taviran, Rand and the boys... We need armies.
Yeah, I honestly, this entire perspective, I was waiting for Thulin to mention Malkier.
Oh, yeah,
I thought this was like we don't ride alone. Like, that's why they're going.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Like, I thought that's what this was connecting to. Because I knew they were in the Borderlands. And then the one guy is from Shinar, but he doesn't wear a top knot or something like that. And then I was like, is he actually Malkieri?
I don't know.
Should we... mention that? I thought there was going to be a callback kind of thing. It's like, here's Borderlanders packing up because of what Nynaeve started.
We've heard.
That's what I thought this was.
We know Land's on the way. He's going to need smiths for his army.
That's what I honestly thought this was.
That he's not leading.
I'm still choosing to believe that this is kind of ripple effect from that.
Love it. Love it. Love it. I love it.
Do you? Okay.
I do love it. Yeah.
Because that's what I was waiting for. Because this whole thing is a little tedious to read, but I'm always interested to keep reading. So I'm like, ooh, the next paragraph might be the big thing,
Well, and when I read it, it's kind of like it's the pull of the Taviran nature of the common folk being like, we have to go. We have to leave our farms of 20 years. It's not just these two guys. Yep. The people are coming to fight the last battle.
Yeah.
Everybody is needed. Like, all hands on deck. Let's go.
Okay.
Not going to let that dark gather.
Well, Thulin and Reynold are just going to get, sliced in half by Trollocs. But...
Maybe they'll work and they'll make weapons and they won't be made necessarily soldiers.
Yeah.
But people are going to have to die in the last battle.
Oh, so sad.
Okay.
All
right. Anyways.
That's it. Yeah. So he's working on his weapons and he knows the storm is coming and he's got to be ready. And that's how the perspective ends.
There we go. Strong intro. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's take a really quick break before we jump into the next perspective. And we'll be right back.
All right.
Okay, so we are back, and we are going to change perspective into Fandre.
Yes, and we know her.
Well...
We've heard of her. We heard her name
She was
once.
at a scene that we were at.
She is the Suldam who was doing the talking at the fake Daughter of the Nine Moons meeting with Rand and Semirog.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was the main one.
Yeah. Which makes sense, because she's clearly the head one here.
Yeah.
She's trying to compose herself.
Exactly.
And I don't know where we are in terms of timeline in this book.
Sure.
And when we come off of the prologue, what's going to happen and everything. Because we do learn at the end of Knife of Dreams that Rand was traveling to, Eridomen.
Yes.
We learned that he was going south, and, Elaine could feel him traveling west and stuff like that. So this feels like a bit of a rewind.
Little bit, yeah.
For us to see what happened after Rand loses his hand.
Why he's zippity-zopping all over the place.
Right. And because you had said, oh, well, now Semirog is, in captivity, something, when we were talking.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, is she though?
Because, you were all worried.
Well, I was like, well, we didn't really see.
Yeah.
I was like, just balefire her right now. Joop, a little joop, and then we're good. Then she's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, we're just gonna keep her in captivity.
Yeah, for the information that you can learn from her about things.
No.
Right?
I'm sick of it.
Okay.
That makes me uncomfortable when bad guys are being held captive.
Sure.
No.
So, we talked about this, what was it, maybe 2 weeks ago when we were at that scene? Do you still feel like this is going to end poorly?
I feel like that was a little more than 2 weeks ago, but...
How do you feel about it? How is this going to end with Semirog?
Okay, let's talk about it
Yeah.
next episode.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Okay. So here we have a scene of what's going on from the perspective of the Suldam who just witnessed this whole thing go down.
Yes. Yeah.
And I kind of like this because one of my complaints about that entire scene was that I didn't get to see any of it go down.
Yeah.
Because we were in Rand's head. Rand gets blasted at the beginning.
He does.
He's knocked out and he wakes up when it's over.
Yeah.
I was like, of all the things to skip, that would have been very interesting to see.
That's a cool scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and here's the aftermath, so.
This is the aftermath. And so now Fandre, is that really how I say that?
I guess so, yeah.
Fandre?
Yeah, Fandre.
Okay. Is watching a dead body, or the dead bodies of a Suldam and Damani being tied onto horses.
Yeah, so at that battle, only one Suldam and Damani actually got killed.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening now.
Yeah, because we had a couple others who were like throwing up, others were weeping.
Yeah,
others
some
were
injuries.
Like clinging to each other.
Right.
It was an entire thing.
Yep.
But now Fandre's trying to compose herself.
Yes.
Because
she's like, oh, I've seen worse.
I've seen worse, but like this is also crazy. And she knows that because she's still connected to her Damani, that Damani could like feel her feelings. And so she needs to like stay calm.
Exactly, because she's the not animal of the pair, right?
No, I get it. Yeah. I understand the relationship.
If you forgot about that.
I didn't.
But it's also
That's a hard
horrifying.
thing to forget.
It's horrifying because she also knows that Nancy, the Damani,
is shielded.
And it's not just that she's shielded, it's by who and what.
A man.
Who can channel. Presumably, like, we don't really exactly know who she thinks the one is. Like, does she think that
it's Rand?
It's Rand, like the Dragon Reborn is the guy shielding her?
Well, I don't know, because she does at some point think about these Asha men.
Yeah.
So,
but it's just in the scene, she's like, "Oh, by what?" And then she's like, "Obviously, this isn't just a man.
Yeah.
This is the Dragon Reborn. This is the guy."
Or I was thinking, by Asha man.
That too.
Because she also doesn't like that.
It's all bad for her. She hates all of it. Doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
It's all terrible for her.
And then, just to confirm my suspicions, I was like, ooh, are we right now where I think we are? And that's where we're at the aftermath with Rand.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because that's sort of what it sounds like.
Right.
But then we don't really get confirmation until we get a man behind her saying, "Will you deliver the message?" And she knows this is not just any man.
Yeah.
And she thinks that this is a guy who just got his hand blown off and is acting like he lost a glove.
Right, yes. Yeah.
And she says, "I'll deliver your message with the care it requires, my Lord Dragon."
Yeah. So it's like, this is Rand.
Yes.
It's for sure Rand. But it's also really funny because this is one of those situations where when we're in Rand's head, he thinks he's doing a great job of everything.
Yeah.
Of like acting like a totally normal guy.
Yeah.
And clearly, based on everybody else, it's like he is not. He is a cold.
I don't know. I think it's good though.
Yeah.
In this situation, I think that it's really good that she's like kind of scared of him.
Yeah, but every once in a while we get Rand being like, and I tried to soften my voice.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you didn't though. Like, I know, you think you did.
Because she mentions his like cold, dead eyes.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, this is the hardest guy ever. It's like, so.
No, that's true. And my initial reaction to this was like, oh no, what if she doesn't think that his message requires care?
Yeah.
Just the way that she says it, "I'll deliver your message with the care it requires."
Yeah, it's a bunch of weird Shanshan
like
shit's gonna get in the way here.
Almost. I was like, ooh, does she actually think not? But nah, she is. She's totally gonna deliver this message.
Yeah, well, she has to do a little bit of like, she's Shanshan, and even the way that he tells her to deliver the message, for example, directly to the Daughter of the Nine Moons, that doesn't jive very well with Shanshan because like she can't talk to Tuon.
No.
That's not a thing that should ever happen.
But she said she'll find a way to do it.
She does, but that's why she has to do a lot of maneuvering before that ever happens.
Yeah. All right, and then she sees one of the Mareth Damani come through a hole in the air who's wearing a ton of jewelry and has a red dot on her forehead.
And you're like, hey.
Nynaeve.
Yeah, we know that one too.
Yeah, and she talks to Rand like she's his mother.
Exactly. She's like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
What's this relationship?
And she's like, Rand, we gotta go.
Yeah. And this is where we kind of get the fact that they have traveled from where they were at that manor house to a mile outside Abu Dar, clearly to bring the Suldam
with
Damani.
Everybody. Yeah,
so that they can get and pass along the message here. So that is a bit of a...
Well, because Semirog had them travel to wherever they were
in the middle of nowhere.
Too far away.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now they've traveled really close to Abu Dar. So Nynaeve's like, hey, we got to go because like Seanchan are everywhere. But in fact, it sounds like it was Cadsuane who sent Nynaeve to ask Rand about that because Rand calls her out on that.
Now, it's interesting here. Nynaeve wants to heal these Damane because a couple of them are like in pretty bad shape.
Well, like head wounds too. She's like, probably some concussions.
Yeah, basically that's what she says.
If you want messages to be passed along properly,
we should heal them.
Heal concussions.
But this Suldam, Fandre, is like,
no,
don't touch me with the power, don't touch me with the power, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, right? And she also still thinks that this might be a ruse, this whole like setting them free.
It's like a trap.
Yeah, she's like, I still don't get it. Yep. Are they actually going to set me free? I don't know.
Well, because they even treated them nicely. Like, they gave them wash water to wash the blood and guts off of like themselves.
And vomit.
Crazy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Understand what's happening here.
Okay. Rand says no. They don't want it, so whatever.
Yeah. Just like, leave it. Drop it. No.
And then he tells Fandre that Abu Dar is an hour east of here, and their shields will dissipate within a half an hour or so.
And he has to do the confirmation, like Nynaeve, right?
Right.
Half an hour, right?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yes. But we also do get a recap here that Nynaeve does not like this plan. She does not want to let them go.
Yeah. It's bad. Returning the captives to, like, don't...
I know, but Rand's whole thing is like, no, I want a truce with them. I can't just, like, steal their people.
Yeah, but also, like, and it's like the show of good faith. And this is the same thing about Elaine in that whole situation. It's like, what do we do with them?
Yeah.
We shouldn't just send them back. But Elaine's like, yeah, let's send them back because, you know, the whole Damani and Suldam can be a Damani situation. And, like, let them infiltrate themselves and ruin their entire culture.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, but what I do find interesting here is Rand sort of does this entire paragraph monologue where he shares a lot of information with this random Suldam lady.
Sure.
And really what it is a recap for us.
Yes, yeah.
That's what I kind of felt like this was. So we get a good sense of where he's standing on this situation because he's like, no, that for sure was Semirhage. And I thought for sure that she was going to be somewhere and that a Forsaken was going to be trying to infiltrate the Seanchan.
Yeah.
And in a way, I'm glad that she revealed herself and we found her
because I can stop
worrying.
Yeah.
And he talks about the Forsaken and Semirhage specifically with a lot of familiarity.
Super weird.
Yeah.
For Fandre to be like, why is he talking so familiarly?
Yeah. With or about
Semirhage. Yeah.
But now it's finally time for Rand and his crew to pack up and leave. And then it's just Fandre and her people left behind.
Yeah.
And she's still pretty surprised that this is happening. She really didn't think she was going to be set free.
For sure, yeah. Like, it's a crazy situation.
Yep.
But also now she's got the other side of things to figure out because now, yeah, she wasn't murdered by the Dragon Reborn, but now she just might be murdered by her own people if she missteps at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's the whole hierarchy thing, and actually the Aes Sedai do a very similar thing, where it's like, hey, if you're the highest ranking person who comes back from a failed mission, then you're the one who's going to get blamed for it. Even if you had like 3 superiors who all effed it up. It's like you're the highest ranking person coming back with bad news. It's all falling on you.
Yeah. No, that's true. I do like, though, before Rand leaves, he tells her that there's no shame in being manipulated by a Forsaken, especially Semirhage.
Right.
Which I wonder if she's able to actually internalize at that point.
Yeah.
Because she is feeling a lot of shame in that. And she's like, how am I going to go back and tell people that Anath was a Forsaken? Like,
well, it's
they're
like
never
she might not feel
me.
the shame, but I have to explain the fact that, like, hey, number one, the Forsaken are real when the Seanchan don't even believe in Shadowspawn, which we can talk about right away.
Yeah.
But also, she was infiltrated as Tuon's truth speaker. Like, it's a crazy story to have a lot of people higher up, like, believe for you to not get blamed and murdered for it.
Right.
So.
And then she also thinks about what High Lady Suroth is going to say.
Yeah.
And, well, we just left her at the end of last book in a very tight spot.
I really don't think, well, tight as in she's property now.
She's property now.
So I don't think Suroth is going to have anything to say about it.
No, but I mean, I've been thinking about that a little bit because in the Seanchan culture, when you're property, you just sort of do as you're told and like you don't care about anybody or anything, right? You just do what you're told as property.
Okay.
But as a dark friend who has their own motives
That's
and
true.
stuff,
That's
like,
true.
in front of people...
Hierarchy doesn't matter to Dark Friends.
No, and in front of people, she'll still be the Daco Vale that she's supposed to be.
Sure.
But potentially in private, she's still doing bad things. Because it's like, oh, she could never have Tuon killed now because she's property. But it's like, no, she still probably could have Tuon killed somehow.
Yeah, the issue is that her direct superior is currently captive with Rand. Like, Suroth reported to Semirog from what we know of that interaction.
Yes.
So...
Yes.
Semirog currently captive.
Now, like, that whole thing. But Suroth doesn't know that.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, I was like, oh, well, guess that plan's out the window. Too bad, you can't kill her, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, actually, just because she's Daco Vale doesn't mean that she can't pull off other stuff
for sure
behind the scenes.
All right, so you not 100% discounting
and especially
Suroth.
As Daco Vale, she could like poison drinking water and like stuff like that.
For sure.
Because she's evil.
Right.
She's evil property.
So
she's going to be super overlooked now, like almost better, right?
Because they don't even pay attention. They just assume they're going to fall in line.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I like that.
Because she's like screaming and like, oh my God, maybe I should just kill myself. But like, maybe she'll wrap her head around this, like, be like, actually, I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to read and find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably not though. It's probably not that because she just wants all the power and she doesn't have it now. But
sure.
Still.
Can she get past the Shanshin hierarchy?
Yeah,
right?
that's the question.
Yeah. I do like in Philandra's head, though, she's like, yeah, it makes sense that Anath was Semirog because, like, she was always trying to reach way above her station.
Yeah.
Like, she was a dick to everybody.
Yeah, she was a bad truth speaker.
That's just being a giant beast.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, but an interesting point is that she thinks that they lost access to the Adam, and then that is a really bad thing.
Right.
So that's the male Adam, right?
No. She's thinking, like, what's the worst that's going to happen to me personally? So she's a Suldam.
Yeah.
She's just not going to be allowed to use Damani anymore. That's going to be, like, her punishment.
Oh, I thought they were talking about losing the male... the Adam that they had to like capture Rand with.
She's thinking of her personal consequences. Like, the worst thing that's probably going to happen to me is not being able to be like a Suldam.
Because she didn't really know what the whole plan was with those things anyway.
No, she's thinking like they're not really going to like turn me into Daco Val for this,
When I read it, I thought it was like, oh no, we lost the male Adam. And I was like, oh, maybe they don't have more.
Yeah, no, it doesn't even sound like they understand that whole part of the plan. So,
okay.
But anyways.
Okay.
All right.
Well, anyway, she's going to have some serious thinking to do on the way back, and she really has to plan out how she's going to get in front of Tuon.
Yeah.
How she's not going to get murdered, how she's not going to be turned into property.
Yeah.
And she does not want to die over this, so let's see how this goes.
Yeah, it does sound like she's going to slow play this, so the real question is, when is Tuon going to get this message about the meeting?
That's true, too, because when Rand says... get my message to her, she goes, yeah, I'll tell her that you want a meeting.
Yes.
And Rand says, no, tell her I still want a meeting.
Yes.
And then Philandra's like, I really don't even think that Tuon had any idea
there was a number one meeting. There was
a meeting to have at all.
Yeah.
She's right about that.
Yeah.
But my whole thing was, Rand wants to meet with Tuon and Tuon's with Matt, and then maybe they'll have a whole bro out, but then Tuon will be there and it'll be easier to get the truce and stuff like that. Exactly. But now... not so much. They're separated.
Yes, so, and Tuon has just become...
the daughter of the Nine Moons.
Exactly.
Unveiled.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, for the record, Rand did say, hey, I'll be in Eridoman, and I'm going to back off the attacks there as a show of good faith that I want this meeting to happen.
Yeah.
So, like, that's where I'll be.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for the record. So there we go.
All right. And that's the end of that perspective.
Yeah.
And we are going to hop right over with another Shanshin.
Yeah, here we go. It's our favorite.
Tylee Kurgan.
Yes. We love her, right?
No.
Oh, you don't like
love
her?
Is a very strong word.
You like her?
No.
You're accepting of her?
No.
We're cool?
Ugh.
Okay. All right. We know her.
We know her.
Yeah, pretty well.
And she hasn't been able to stop thinking about that Perrin.
No.
That big beefy Perrin. She sure likes to think about him.
It's a respect thing. It's not like an infatuation thing.
Sure it is. Sure it is.
You saying File's got competition now?
Maybe.
A little Tylee in the corner here?
A little, like even more than Barrelane, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, she's got the status because she did get that promotion.
She got a promotion.
We saw it at the end of Knife of Dreams.
But now she officially has it.
Yep. Lieutenant General.
And we understand here, we learned that it's been 2 weeks since her fight with the Aiel, with Perrin, and it's a bittersweet win considering that it was a genius plan, and she doesn't want to have to meet Perrin on the battlefield one day.
Yeah, and just for the record, I have to say, like, the plan in theory was good, except for the fact that so many things could have gone terribly wrong, and they did.
Well, yeah.
But the pattern was like, okay, so Perrin said he's not fighting in the last battle if he doesn't have his wife back.
Yes.
So I guess we should get his wife back.
Yeah.
So then his plan worked out, even though it probably shouldn't have worked.
Shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a wild plan. And so that's the Taviran thing. It's like, you know what?
Right.
Needs his wife.
Yeah.
Get his wife. So.
All right. Now, another Shanshan rides up. Mishima.
Yeah. We know that's the captain.
That's the same guy.
He's the guy
before.
who like reports to her.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he can tell that she's like still mulling over this whole battle thing.
And Perrin.
Beefy
Perrin.
Yeah, he's a good soldier, solid guy, but like too focused and too driven.
Yeah, that's his opinion of Perrin.
Well, he's right.
100%. Oh yeah, because like he was very narrow-minded in his whole like let's
the
get
entire
back.
Thing. Yes,
is terrible.
Yeah, they had people like waiting in aqueduct like for 24 hours.
Right in the water slide. Yeah, down the aqueduct. Yeah, same thing.
It wasn't quite like that.
But we also have something else important to talk about. It's
ghosts.
It's ghosts.
Ghosts.
Yeah. Nobody wants to talk about it. But there's reports.
People are like, well, there's people over there, and then now there's not, and then there's people, and then now there's not.
Well, the scouts are seeing stuff, and people are vanishing, nobody knows why. It's like, hey, what is it?
No plant life is budding. It's not springtime yet.
Sounds a lot like that intro passage.
Yeah.
Vermin and ghosts and things.
Food's rotting, spoiling quickly.
Dust when you open it up.
No. Weird.
Worst part, did you pick up the omen?
Yeah.
The worst omen Tylee has ever seen in her life.
Say, I don't see omens in my everyday life here where I live.
Sure.
Just my own, belief system.
Maybe if you knew the omens, if you care to learn the Shanshan omens, you would see them more often.
That's true if I had any sort of belief in omens.
Professional training, yeah.
But I don't.
Okay.
If I saw 2 dead rats lying on the ground with one of the rat's tail in the other rat's mouth, I would probably stop and think, wow, that's frickin' weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would feel weirded out, and even though I'm not like, and she's like, well, there's an omen in that. It's like, well, yeah.
It's weird. It's weird and gross.
That's a really weird and very specific thing. I'm like, yeah, you better see an omen in that. Like, you think an owl hooting in the tree is an omen, and you think
owls hoot. They hoot at nighttime.
A dolphin swimming in the ocean is an omen.
I think it was a porpoise, okay?
Yeah. And ants walking in a line is an omen. But like, yes, this dead rat thing, 1000%. This is a real thing. This is a real omen that like really matters.
You don't even know. They're all real omens, okay?
Yeah, but this one, like of all the things, she's like,
the most real.
Like, honestly, yeah. Like, that's not just like a omen. That's like a what the fuck is happening?
It's good.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I can accept that.
Okay. I was driving the other day, and a magpie like swooped in front of my car as I was driving.
Sure.
And then another one swooped in front and flew the other direction almost at the same time.
Whoa.
And I was like, I bet there's an omen in that. I thought to myself, I was like, I wonder what that omen is.
Yeah.
Because it felt weird,
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
No dead rats, though.
No.
No.
I'd be like, what are rats doing in Alberta?
There are rats in Alberta again.
Oh, gosh.
In Calgary.
What?
There was a whole infestation.
That's the only thing we have going for us here.
Nope, they're back. I posted it in our Discord a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
I was like, hey guys, we got rats again. It's the worst.
That one internet meme isn't true anymore now.
It's not.
Oh.
There's rats here again.
Next thing I know, another meme's going to be not true.
Ah.
There's an omen in that. Probably bad when the internet starts telling lies.
Okay, we have things to talk about.
Do we, though?
Yes. Yeah, we do. We're going to get to the good stuff.
Okay. So, a lot of weird stuff happening.
Weird stuff.
Ghosts and rats. And that's when Tylee's like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be fighting these people.
Right.
And she knows, like, that's a super rebellious thought.
Yeah, that was the order that we're supposed to come in and take over everybody.
Literally, the Empress is like, and that's the return.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they're doing.
We're
they came
reclaiming our land.
And now Tylee's thinking, like, hey, maybe with all this other crazy ghost stuff happening, maybe, not goats.
Ghosts.
I have a bit of a cold here.
Yeah.
Ghosts.
Ghosts.
Or, Goats. Anyways, Suroth and
Goat
Galgan,
ghosts.
we know they're the leaders in charge until the Daughter of the Nine Moons reveals herself.
Which she has now.
Which has happened, but, not everybody knows that, obviously.
Yeah.
And she can't be saying that to anyone, not even Mishima, who she seems like pretty tight with.
Yeah.
Just not worth the risk.
Can't even do it.
Can't. But don't worry. She could have said it. She could have said it right now.
She could have, but he did.
Yeah. Well, she turns and it's like...
Yeah, she freezes because Mishima has an arrow through his neck.
Yeah.
And she didn't even hear it strike.
Oh, my goodness.
And his eyes are wide. He's trying to speak, but he can't. And he slides out of his saddle and collapses.
He dies.
And then her horse
Ugh.
knocks her out of her saddle, which is like weird for her really trained horse.
Well, this is the crazy thing. So she turns because she didn't see it, and then she sees something enormous charging towards her. And this is actually funny as a comparison here, because we've got specifically in these books where horses like Mandarb, for example, like Land's Borderlander trained war horse, they know how to go into battle against Trollocs and Shadowspawn.
Yeah.
They're trained to not panic around Shadowspawn because, like big crazy monster, you got to have the right horses. The Shanshin do not have those trained war horses. So they have war horses, but they're not at all equipped to battle Shadowspawn.
Yeah.
So it's like your perfect army.
That's because Shadowspawn don't even exist.
That's true. But
Haven't
that's the
you
thing.
heard?
So she manages to like pull her sword free and the thing is charging. And that's when the war horse like freaks out and like bucks her off basically.
Which saves her.
Saves her because the monster swipes at her. But
right.
anyways.
So she manages to recover. But at this point, I actually don't know yet that it's Trollocs until she describes it.
Yeah.
And so at first, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. Well, and then the first description is like enormous creature or something like.
Sort of.
Yeah.
But that's not even anything that stood out to me.
Yeah.
Because I saw the arrow and then like something charging, or like I thought it was like a big force charging in.
Well, and she thinks it's just a big dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, and then there's like a whole force, I thought, coming in, and I was like, is this somehow Matt? Is she somewhere where the Matt stuff is going on? Yep. And I didn't really know, but then, she sees a Trolloc.
Yeah.
And she describes this boar-like man, and
it's a nightmare creature. She thought they were just like myths and superstition.
That's right.
It's like, boom.
And she manages to kill one.
Yeah.
Which is good on ya, because it's been a while since we've actually been like scared of Trollocs.
Trollocs are back, baby.
Trollocs are back.
They're back.
Yeah. Even the like 100,000 Trollocs that tried to attack Rand at that manor.
Yeah.
We like managed.
Yeah, we got him because we got like literal.
We got channeling.
Yeah.
Because we have channeling. That's what it is.
And we got Rand with his death gates.
Yes.
Come on.
Death
Super
gates
cool.
and finger arrows.
Yeah.
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 Well, that wasn't Rand.
Flamey
that
fingers.
wasn't Rand and his death gates.
We call him
that
Flamey
was
fingers.
Luce Theron and his death gates.
Sure. You know.
It wasn't Rand.
Same.
It's not.
But different.
But same.
Still same.
Yeah.
Anyways, she thinks it's just one, so she starts trying to rally the call, like, 2 arms.
Yeah.
And then she turns, and then sees, like, literally hundreds of these monsters pouring out of the trees.
Yeah,
it's like,
why are Trollocs back? Weird, right?
Yeah, it's almost like there's, like, some sort of hypothetical storm gathering, and, like, maybe, like, some sort of battle that might be, like, the last one is beginning.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are they still using the ways? I thought we were sealing off those way gates.
Well, you were all like, "Oh, Loyal, his mission doesn't even matter."
Well, his mission matters.
What's up?
I just thought Rand would care more about Loyal's mission.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He doesn't care.
A lot of way gates to cut off.
I guess so, because how else are they traveling this south?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the confusing part with her, because she's like, hey, we're literally like a day from Ebudar, so also very close, same timeline almost as like where Rand was, dropping off Fandre, and she thinks we're well within Shanshin control territory, so like, how did this even happen?
Yeah.
What's going on? And then she charges in the battle, so like, stuff's happening here.
Yeah.
Like, we're going. Let's go time.
Yeah. I don't think that her forces are gonna do very well.
They have to overcome a couple, preconceived ideas about monsters.
Right.
That's the tricky part.
Right. Well, when you're faced with them, you either fight or you die, so...
That's true.
I think that she's gonna escape, though.
Tylee herself?
Yes.
You don't think she's gone?
I feel like it's written that's like, okay, bye.
Yeah, like they're probably gonna lose like a lot of soldiers.
Yeah, but I think she might like get away to share the message, maybe.
Ooh, I like that too. I like it.
Okay. I don't know.
Okay.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we're halfway through the prologue here, so we got a little bit more to cover. We got 3 more perspectives.
Yep.
We'll tackle next episode.
Yep. Because full disclosure, I did read the whole thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we'll be able to record that right away.
Love it.
I'm excited to get into it. I'm excited to get into this book. It's hooked me.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
You know, you didn't get like the 150-page prologue. It's only like 35 pages.
No, it was way shorter than I thought. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I always forget too, because the amount of pages versus the amount of chapters throws off a little bit.
Yeah, it must be shorter chapters for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is going to drive me crazy.
That's true.
You're making me do like one at a time. And
I know.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes, okay? Because we did say at the beginning of last book, we're slowing things down 1 chapter at a time. And it kind of drove me crazy. So we'll see. We'll see how long this lasts.
We'll see. Okay.
Yeah, I might be able to convince you otherwise.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
It's a whole working thing. Why do we have to work? Jobs.
All right. Well, before you go and bury all your good tools, before you go off to war in the north, I'm going to say that this is part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Well, that's the end of another fun episode. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. The Wheel Weaves is hosted and edited by Dani and Brett and produced by Dani and Brett with Passion Socks, Cody Fouts, Benjamin, Jamie Young, Megan, Jared Berg, Ricky Morissette, Adam, Mozyme, Marta Thier, Michelle Forbes, MKM, Antoine Benoit, Lawrence Bradley, Eric Reed, Colby T, Gabby Young, and Grayson Ishara. With music by Audionautics. Be sure to check out our Patreon page if you're interested in supporting us on the podcast. We'd love to send you some Patreon exclusive merchandise as a thank you, plus you'll gain access to our episodes earlier than everyone else. And at the time of recording, we have over 45 bonus episodes for your listening pleasure. Find all that and more at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. For general information about our show and information like how to send us shot glasses, how to join the Discord, or how to get in touch with us, visit thewheelweavespodcast.com. And as always, please be sure to give us a 5-star review because it really does make a really huge difference in helping other people find us. And tell a friend, Riyadh, because referrals really are the best compliment. Thanks so much for listening. This really is part of the pattern now.